He's too old. He's out of touch, losing his marbles at an alarming rate.
They have sinks where no water comes out.
I do want to remind everybody, this is the guy that worked with the former Klansman.
I will be Donald Trump's most loyal advocate to make sure his nominees go to the Supreme Court.
You turn it on, no water comes out. You want to wash your hands, right?
Yeah.
And you've seen this, and you turn on the sink and it's very little.
Trump's having a full-on conniption fit, and it's all thanks to a little video that's got him madder than a wet hen. The Lincoln Project just dropped a truth bomb so big, it's making Trump's hair stand on end, and that's saying something. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. But here's the kicker. Everything in this video, it's 100% real footage.
Full of his struggles and ramblings and rantings and mumbling and bumbling and stumbling. You decide. Take a look.
I find it awkward. I find it embarrassing. He's really in the early stages of some kind of senile dementia.
They've deliberately surrendered our border to vicious coyotes and drug smugglers. I mean, these drug smugglers, the smuggler, a smuggler!
No AI, no deep fakes, just pure, unfiltered Trump. And let me tell you, it's uglier than a mud fence. Curious what's got Trump's tighty whities in such a twist? Stick around, we're about to show you why he's losing his marbles. Alright folks, let's talk about these Lincoln Project troublemakers. Picture a bunch of crusty old Republicans who've had it up to their receding hairlines with Trump's nonsense. These aren't just any GOP has-beens, we're talking about the big cheese types who used to run the show. But here's the kicker. These political dinosaurs found each other on Twitter of all places. It's like a retirement home for disgruntled Republicans discovered social media. Can you imagine? A bunch of suit-wearing, MAGA-hating boomers sliding into each other's DMs with anti-Trump memes. It's comedy gold. Now, these crafty geezers are using all their insider know-how to give Trump a taste of his own medicine. They've got more dirt on him than a pig in a mud wrestling match. And boy, do they know how to use it. They're not pulling any punches, hitting Trump where it hurts most, right in his oversized ego.
Saying Trump is threatening to sue Fox News for running a Lincoln Project. Perverts should not be allowed to false advertise, and Fox News should not allow it to happen. Seawall and
armed aggression must not succeed.
If I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath.
But here's the real genius of their plan. They're not wasting time trying to convince diehard Trumpers. Nah, they're after those fence sitters, the folks who can't decide if they hate Trump enough to vote for Sleepy Joe. Their strategy? Make Trump look so bad that even Biden seems like a breath of fresh air in comparison. It's like they're saying, sure, Biden might put you to sleep, but at least he won't set your house on fire while you're napping. And get this, they've raised a whopping $90 million for their anti-Trump crusade. That's a lot of dough to spend on making the Donald look like a doofus. With that kind of cash, they could probably buy every wig shop in New York and still have enough left over for a few rounds of golf at Mar-a-Lago.
I didn't know that on that November day that he would be responsible for the death of more than 1 million Americans through the mismanagement of a pandemic. I didn't imagine on that morning that he would incite so much hate. I'll never forget that feeling, waking up that November day in 2016 and learning that Donald Trump would be the next president of the United States. I remember the overwhelming grief. I remember the women's marches across the country and division in this nation that white nationalists would proudly march in the streets and his followers would try to overthrow my government.
Their ads are a mix of side-splitting humor and brutal takedowns, using Trump's own words against him like a political boomerang. It's like they've weaponized his Twitter feed and turned it into a comedy roast. Folks, the Lincoln Project just dropped an ad that's got Trump madder than a cat in a bathtub. This isn't your run-of-the-mill political attack. It's a greatest hits album of Trump's most embarrassing moments, and it's hitting him where it hurts, his ego.
I didn't know what he was capable of on that day, but I know now.
We trust women to make decisions about their own.
I couldn't know he would appoint Supreme Court justices who would end my rights to my own healthcare decisions, thus ensuring my daughters have less rights than their grandmothers had.
Body and not have their government tell them what to do.
Vote. Your values, your country, your future. Your rights are on the ballot.
Picture this, a montage of Trump stumbling over words, looking more confused than a deer in headlights, and generally acting like he's a few crayons short of a full box. It's not pretty, but it's all real footage. No fake news here, folks. The ad doesn't pull any punches. It accuses Trump of pulling a fast one on his supporters, saying it wasn't voter fraud, but it was fraud. Trump told you the election was stolen, ripped you off, to sucker you, to take your hard-earned money and shovel it into his pockets.
Vice President, Trump will finally have the time to do the things that make him.
You don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
The danger is.
I need 11,000 votes. Give me a bloodbath.
It was the biggest scam in political history. Ouch, that's gotta sting more than a sunburn on a bald head. But here's the kicker, the Lincoln Project knows Trump's TV habits better than he knows his own hairspray. They aired this beauty right when and where he'd see it, probably during his favorite Fox News shows. It's like they're playing 4D chess while Trump's still figuring out tic-tac-toe. And boy, did it work. Trump went on a Twitter rampage faster than you can say "covfeff." He accused the Lincoln Project of using AI to make him look bad, because, you know, he needs help with that like a fish needs a bicycle. The Lincoln Project fired back, tweeting, "Donald Trump, are you in such mental decline? You can't tell the difference between reality and AI. You're losing it." Talk about adding insult to injury. The ad strategy is brilliant in its simplicity. It's like they've held up a mirror to Trump, showing the world exactly who he is. No filters, no edits, just pure, uncut Trump. And apparently that's scarier than any Halloween mask you could find. But here's the real genius of it all. By airing these ads when Trump's likely to be glued to his TV, they're not just reaching voters, they're getting under his spray-tanned skin, living rent-free in his head. It's like they found the Trump tantrum button and they're pushing it with glee. Well folks, it looks like the Lincoln Project isn't just throwing shade for fun. They're actually making waves in the political pool. These former GOP rebels have been raking in the dough and using it to create ads that stick in people's minds like gum on a hot sidewalk. And get this, their zingers are actually changing how voters see old Trumpy Dumpty. It's like they've cracked the code on how to get under Trump's thin orange skin. Maybe they should rename themselves the Trump Troll Project. Ha, but seriously, these guys aren't just firing blanks. They're hitting the bullseye when it comes to swaying public opinion. Who knew that a bunch of disgruntled Republicans could become the ultimate Trump kryptonite? So next time you see one of their ads pop up, remember, it's not just a laugh factory. It's a political ninja move, sneaking into people's brains and planting seeds of doubt about the great and powerful Trump. And judging by his Twitter tantrums, it's working like a charm.